Fisch is the new big Roblox game, and naturally it's gonna garner some critics. Many are saying that it's just a fishing simulator using a minigame that was taken from another game, and they're completely right. But what they should also think about is how Fisch is actually a really good RNG game, and it doesn't even attempt to market itself as one. I think it's worthy of actually being called a game, unlike pretty much every other RNG game. Fisch players might not like me grouping it in with the other RNG games, but it's alright because most of us are aware of the very stark contrast between a game like Fisch and a game like Souls RNG. If a player with premium plays a game, the developer of that game gets Robux. The longer a player is in the game for, the more Robux the developer gets. RNG games push this system to its limits. They offer rare chance-based items that you can get by clicking one button, which is usually called rolling. In pretty much all of these games, this can be done automatically. This is the perfect chance for players to go do real people things while simultaneously rolling for an item or aura while they're AFK, which gives the developer a bunch of money, because you're sitting there doing nothing for many hours at a time. But Fisch is different. The fishing has multiple aspects to it that make actually playing the game more beneficial than AFKing. You start by casting your line, and your cast can range from bad to perfect. It's oddly satisfying hitting a perfect cast, and you're probably going to find yourself wanting to do one every time, even though it's not as beneficial as you may think. When you actually hook a fish, you have to do this mini-game. It's not unbearable, but it's not incredible. At least it has other uses though, like doubling as a reaction time and aim trainer. Different rods can make this minigame easier, harder, longer, or shorter. Same goes for the part where you reel in the fish. An exclamation mark appears above your head to signify the rarity of what you're about to catch. Depending on the type of fish, its movements can be much more erratic, and it might even slow down the progress bar by a certain percentage. It gets crazy enough to the point where you can't reliably AFK if you're trying to get like a rare or big fish. I personally missed the rarest event fish 4 times simply because of how erratic it was, paired with the ridiculously slow progress bar.
Holy grail, bro, what's going on?
It's gone. Motherfucker. Most of these mechanics are taken straight from a non-Roblox game called Stardew Valley, with some very slight changes here and there. In pretty much every other RNG game, everything I just explained would be shrunken down or straight up removed and changed into a one-click roll button with a cutscene that just does everything for you. Fisch takes the concept of rolling for rare stuff and adds actual substance to it while keeping it short and semi-fulfilling. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The currency system is pretty simple. You get coins by selling fish, opening crates, finding items, blah blah. There's far too many ways to list off. There's many ways to use these coins, such as buying bait, fishing rods, crab cages, special items, etc. Sometimes fishing feels like a job if you sell after every fishing session, so I try to go a while without selling so it feels more rewarding when I eventually do sell. The rarities are also pretty simple, but work with the game really well. Excluding items and events, there's 3 umbrella rarities: basic, legendary, and mythical. The fish themselves actually have different sub-rarities like trash, common, uncommon, unusual, and rare. Anything below legendary gets lumped in with the basic umbrella rarity. The rarer fish tend to be a lot bigger and wackier in design, while also being worth a lot more. A funny thing you can do is actually get your fish appraised to make it worth more or less, and this ties in with the weight and mutation mechanics. Every fish has a small chance of having a mutation when you catch it, and these are what allow for the 400,000 plus variations that the description proudly displays. There's a whole list, and it contains mutations like shiny, translucent, Midas, big, giant, etc. These can all be combined in any way the game decides, and they can make your fish worth a lot more. Every fish can also vary in weight by a lot, bigger fish being worth more coins. The appraiser is definitely where the RNG aspect really shows itself, as a payment of 450 coins gets you what is essentially a roll on your fish's size and mutations. There's even a game pass to increase your luck with the appraiser. The roll button will haunt us forever. Your equipment bag gives you access to all of your fishing rods, bobbers, and baits. Fishing rods are really cool because there isn't one rod that's super excellent at everything. There's just a little bit over 20 different rods in the game, and they're all meant for very specific use cases. Some are much better for catching specific types of fish or very specific tasks like making money. Some of these rods can only be unlocked by filling your bestiary to a specific level, which means you're probably going to have to buy some very specific rods for fish that you need to catch. Baits can have different effects depending on what fish you're trying to catch. catch. A bait might have a luck boost for a specific fish, which is called preferred luck, or it might also give universal luck for any catch. They come with drawbacks though, and that's typically a loss in resilience, which means the fish will be more erratic in its movement. And again, a lot of this is taken from Stardew Valley, but with some slight changes. Instead of joining a game, immediately going AFK, and being able to roll for the rarest thing in the game without lifting a finger, Fisch requires you to do certain things to get certain fish. You actually have to play the game. And speaking of the bestiary, it's actually a really good feature for this game. It's basically the Pokédex, except it's for all the types of fish in this game, excluding mutations. It creates an alternate goal, rather than just having the one collective main goal of catching the rarest fish. It's also pretty great how you can't just get every fish by staying in one spot. There's a lot of region-specific fish and specific ways to catch those fish, such as using the preferred bait and fishing rod, which means you can't just AFK for a few days and get everything. Some of these places are actually pretty interesting, like Vertigo. Without accidentally falling into a strange whirlpool, you're probably going to go a while before realizing it even exists. The regular whirlpools kill you, so you're probably never going to willingly jump in unless you get curious one day. Another cool place is Roslet Volcano. When you go in, it becomes a section in your bestiary, but when you try to fish, you can't get anything. You can't fish there unless you happen to stumble across this orc and complete the quest that gives you the proper fishing rod. There's also a ton of items that can help you. Many fish are easier to catch under certain conditions like the time of day or the weather. If you don't want to wait, you can spend some money on a totem that brings the effects you need. There's totems that can change the weather, like the Tempest Totem and Windset Totem. The fish radar can show you specific patches of water where certain fish are more abundant. This is great if you want to catch a specific fish quickly to complete the angler quests, where you have to bring them a specific fish. If you somehow get lost, there's a GPS that shows you your coordinates. You can get the coordinates of a destination beforehand and just go to it whenever you get lost, although the chances of this happening are very low. I'm only including it because it happened to me. This little thing only costs 100 coins and may save you someday. Enchanting is super simple. When it turns night, you bring an enchant relic to the Statue of Sovereignty and enter the Keeper's Altar. It randomly picks one enchantment that can be changed at any time with another enchant relic. Relics are fairly easy to get. They can be bought once you're a high enough level, or they can be fished out of the ocean. You can't stack enchantments, which prevents players from making a rod that's good at everything. The ocean travel in Fisch is pretty bog standard when it comes to Roblox games. The ocean isn't super detailed, and the boats are pretty simple with their controls. Lots of events happen in the oceans, whether it be abundances of certain fish, strange whirlpools opening up that have rare fish, or regular whirlpools that exist simply to kill you and have some mystery man rob you. It feels pretty natural until the boats decide to do stuff like this. I can't name a single decently popular RNG game that's nearly as interesting or has as much stuff to do as Fisch. I've played enough to get to over level 40, get an expensive item called the King's Rod, and catch Nessie twice, the rarest fish in the game at the time of making this video. I've stumbled across a bunch of interesting areas and caught some freaky ass looking fish. A great part about all of this is that I haven't purchased a single game pass yet. Fisch is actually super free to play friendly, and you can get the full experience without buying a single thing. I was never really hit with any urge to purchase anything, which is pretty odd, considering how pretty much every big modern Roblox game is made to make as much money as possible through various questionable tactics. Fisch isn't marketed as an RNG game, but it pretty much doubles as one alongside it being a fishing simulator. Fisch is just more interesting and interactive, and it's what RNG games should have been this whole time, I think. When I get an aura, I'm probably not even gonna be there for the dopamine-inducing cutscene. I'm just gonna flex my aura for 10 minutes and leave. In Fisch, I can take my rare fish, show it off, appraise it to be rare, give it to someone else, sell it, get the same fish and get a different set of mutations, and even get another duplicate and give that to someone else. It's even like real life, where fishers show off their biggest catches. It's just a tiny bit different than the typical RNG game flex. The core mechanics in this game aren't very original or innovative, but that just goes to show how barren RNG games actually are. Some gameplay is better than absolutely none. Fisch isn't a game with a ton of depth and nuance, but it's great if you just want to chill out, maybe go on a small fishing adventure, or just feel like you're completing something. It has the RNG game feel, but with a lot more to do, and it's enjoyable. Me and many others feel like it's actually worth our valuable time to play. Let's hope it stays that way.